NHL Friday betting preview, pucks across borders, brought to you by the one, the only first round collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire first round collectibles store. What's your favorite sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, whatever it is, they have it. So head over to firstroundcollectibles.com today and find your heroes. That's the number one. STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast.
Hey, welcome to this Friday night betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Total Apex Sports and Sports Addict Live, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. It's late, bro. I'm butchering the intro. I'm butchering the ad read. I'm butchering everything. So we'll see how it goes. It's late right now. If you're watching this on Friday, happy Friday. You're almost there. It's the weekend. Andre, how are you feeling, man? Your Yankees get a win. Is that enough to carry you through or what?
Oh, it's definitely enough to carry me through. And right before we went on, actually, I don't think you heard, I got a good chuckle. I watched Garrett Cole at the podium say, you know, how could I not love this? I just had a couple IPAs, spraying champagne, celebrating with the boys. I've never heard of a big leaguer at any level just down in IPAs to celebrate. But, I mean, that's my ace. Love the guy. Good for Cole. Great performance tonight. Can't wait to see him.
Yeah, that's a bit heavy, right? Usually they're cracking like Bud Lights or something, but he's just straight for the IPAs. So once again, Thursday night, it's late here. If you're watching live, if you're watching on Friday, then happy Friday. I was covering the Leaf game tonight, writing up an article for Total Apex Sports. So I still have to go through the whole slate. And obviously, we know the scores. I have my eye on a couple games, so we're not going to be able to do a full takeaway breakdown like we would if it was Friday morning. But right off the top of your head, man, we'll just go through it. If you haven't seen it yet, maybe you're watching some playoff baseball, maybe you're watching some football, need a little recap. The Kings beat the Sabres 3-1. That was hilarious because I checked the score and it's 1-1 with like 2 minutes left. And then I look later and it's 3-1 final score. Senators, our Ottawa Senators beat the Florida Panthers 3-1. The Utah Hockey Club come through for us, cashing in the over and the victory, beating the Islanders in OT. Penguins beat the Red Wings 6-3. Stars beat the Predators 4-3. Stars were winning that game 4-1 for a long time. Preds come back, but a little bit too late. The Blue Jackets lose to the Wild 3-2. The Wild, we had that -1.5 all night long, and the Blue Jackets come through with like a minute and a half left and give me my first real bad beat. There's a couple bad beats. You know, I picked Vancouver the other night -1.5, but that one, this is a real bad beat, right? You have the 1.5, there's 90 seconds left, and you lose it, but the team that you bet on still wins. They just don't cover. So that's the kind of bad beat that we're all about here on Pucks Across Borders. So Andre, everything that happened tonight, you got one eye on the baseball game, one eye on the NHL. What do you have as your takeaway for Thursday night?
Yeah, outside of the first look at Ottawa, I feel like that's the biggest thing that happened tonight. The Mark trade and the results of that. For me, it was oddly enough the Canadians. I had my eye on that game. I was very confident the Bruins were going to bounce back, handle business, shut down Montreal on the second half of back-to-back, particularly their offense. Instead, end of one. It's 3-2. They're hanging in there. They fall behind big time in the second period. Give up 2 goals. I guess they give up 4 straight at one point to go from up 2-1 to down 5-2. And then what do you know? They cut it to a 1-goal game in the final 5 minutes, 5-4. Obviously, they ended up losing 6-4. Gave it right back up, didn't cut it again. But we talked about them preseason. Not going to probably rack up a ton of points. Probably not going to be a good team or one that's in the playoffs per se. But they don't go away. They're feisty. That's not a team you want to play. And second half of back-to-back, I know they're young, so it's not as noticeable or daunting for them, I would say. But to hang with a team like the Bruins for the better part of 60 minutes, hats off to them. Kudos for fighting. I really like what Marty St. Louis has those boys doing night in, night out. And soon, maybe not this year, but soon, the Canadians are going to be a problem again.
I'm telling you, man, I like the way this team plays, dude. Like, they don't give up. They play you hard. And you're absolutely right, bro. 5-2, game's over. They make it a game. And I mean, 5 minutes left, 5-4. That's a lot of time, man. And they gave it their best effort. And like the right guys are coming through, right? Like Brendan Gallagher, he's not the like young sexy name of Suzuki or Caulfield or any of those guys, Kirby Doc, but he's the old grizzle vet. He gets 2 goals. He does what he can to get his team back in the game. My takeaway, I mean, first of all, the Sharks, Macklin Celebrini scoring a goal 2 minutes into his career, giving me Austin Matthews vibes, who scored 4 goals in his first game way back in whatever it was, 2015 or 16 or whatever it was, against the Ottawa, funny enough. But I'm right there with you, man. I think a couple things. I think, number one, Ottawa, that's a really important win because Ottawa, they're notorious slow starters. That's just how they operate. That's how they roll. And it has been for a long time. Your goaltender that you trade for, the fact that I think we talked about that on Thursday morning, the fact that he already signed an extension and didn't wait to see how the season went. He just signed it, got it over with. And the team comes out lockstep with the Panthers the whole night, right? 31-31 were the shots. Tim Stützle gets the first goal, Pinto second goal. It's not like, Panthers got off to the hot start. Like, Ottawa carried that whole game and got the victory, man. And that's awesome. Home opener as well. So obviously it's just one game. I think the other thing too, man, like the fact that the Stars win 4-3. They're up 4-1 for most of that game. But the Predators, like, they outshot Dallas 36-20. And Ottinger just played a phenomenal game. Eventually the dam kind of cracked and you got made it 4-3. But that third goal was late. I guess my overall takeaway is these matchups are already crazy and they're already back and forth and it's already going to be a lot of fun. And we can't move on to Friday night without making one final pass at the two teams that we really have no idea about. And that's the Los Angeles Kings and Buffalo Sabres. Full disclosure, I did not watch this game. I don't know anything about this game. I haven't watched the highlights yet. I haven't read about it, listened to anything about it. So I don't really know how this game went. All I know is the score was 1-1 with like a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. And I look back and it's 3-1 Kings. Buffalo loses their home opener. The Kings win their season opener. Not only that, that's already Buffalo enough as it is. Not only that, but I'm looking at the box score and Buffalo outshot the Kings 33-23. So like I said, I don't know anything about this game other than the game was tied with 2 minutes left and the Sabres outshot the Kings by 10 shots and they still lose. So yeah, pretty Buffalo.
Well, Mark, I can help you out with that. Anze Kopitar took over in that third period, natural hat trick, opened it up 13 seconds
Ooh.
in, gave him the lead with less than 2 minutes left, and then on the power play, I might add, and then added an empty netter in the final minute. So, he scored 5-on-5, scored 5-on-4, and then scored 5-on-6, all in one period. And I don't know if you've been on NHL.com yet this season. They have goal simulations under each one. It's very pleasing to look at. It's kind of distracting. But if you go over the goals scored, you hit the
Okay.
goal simulation, it drops down, and it just plays the X's and O's of everything
Oh, interesting.
without opening
I've
like a video.
seen-
You know how they open
Yeah,
video players usually? Yeah.
right. I've seen the like icon for it or whatever it's called, but I haven't actually clicked it yet. That's interesting. Look at the NHL, eh? Also, speaking of the NHL, really quickly, I saw a TV commercial tonight talking about the golden era. It's like some commercial by the NHL. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's the new one where it's like has obviously McDavid in it, but it has like a bunch of young guys for the most
Yeah.
part. Well, yeah, the future. Yeah.
They're promoting their stars. What an interesting concept this is. Finally, Sidney Crosby is like in the twilight of his career, and finally he's in a commercial about the NHL. Like, did we just figure this out? Like, what are we doing here? I mean, finally we're doing the right thing, but it took long enough. Holy cow.
Yeah, that Utah must be hitting different, Devin's getting those circle checks now.
Yeah, the billions that they've made from Vegas and Utah and Seattle, they finally hired some people to give them some proper marketing ideas. But anyway, there you go. Really exciting, really riveting Thursday night. Lots and lots of action. Look at Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh getting the victory. Detroit, Alex DeBrincat getting 2 goals, and they still lose. There's just lots. What do you got?
No, it was a good call by you. I was trying to give you a point.
I gotta say, man, if I just bet a little bit on everything that I say on this show, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'd be okay. I mean, Forsberg got a goal, right? I called that one. Celebrini and Toffoli have scored so far. I keep throwing out Austin Matthews, and he's barely even played so far this season. Like, he's played, but he hasn't played, if you know what I'm saying. So that one I'm not getting right anytime soon, I guess. But yeah, man. And also I'm proud of myself. I went through that whole opening segment, and I haven't even talked about how the Maple Leafs, they're 1-1. They've allowed 3 goals in 2 nights. Both goaltenders have looked phenomenal. Not one of them is the goalie that was supposed to start the year. And their best players are on the 4th line. So who really knows what's happening in Toronto right now? But Sidney Crosby's coming to town on Saturday, and I can't wait. They got the job done tonight against Sheldon Keefe. That's all that matters.
This big time. Crosby, one last hurrah? Question mark. One last time.
There's already the conversation up here has already started to how many losses before Sidney Crosby requested trade. It's already starting. But all right, it is 12:35 a.m. as we're recording this. Once again, if it's Friday, happy Friday. But right now it's late, and we got 4 games happening on Friday night. So let's dive right into it. First game on the docket is not that one at all. It is this one, the Tampa Bay Lightning at Carolina. Saturday's game in Tampa Bay has been postponed, but this game is moving along as scheduled. I'm just pulling up my odds here as usual. All right, here we go. St. Louis scores. Oh, they might be challenging it. All right. Oh, yeah, 4-2. Maybe that puck line's still in play. A little miracle, a little San Jose miracle. All right. Tampa Bay in Carolina, plus 114 are the Lightning, minus 137 are the Hurricanes, plus 1.5 for Tampa Bay, minus 220, minus 1.5 for the Hurricanes is plus 180. Over 6.5 is minus 102. Under 6.5 is minus 120. Andre, what do you got? Tampa Bay, Carolina.
Yeah, so in these early games, I think we've realized what happened last year predicts what can happen this year. We're seeing it right now with San Jose and St. Louis. So I'm looking at these teams since 2023. It's really weird because every single game has been a blowout. So I will say, first and foremost, whoever you think is going to win, just go with the puck line because March 2023, nothing Canes, next meeting, 4-0 Lightning, next meeting, 3-0 Lightning, next meeting, 4-0 Canes. The most recent meeting was 8-2 Tampa. They're not competitive games. So take them minus 1.5.
Yo, sorry to interrupt. So are you saying that in the last 4 meetings between these teams, the losing team has scored 2 goals? Is that basically what you just told me?
Last 5 meetings. Yes.
5 meetings. That's interesting. Good find by you.
It's crazy. It's really weird. This is also like very quietly. It's not necessarily a rivalry, but they're kind of geographically close. Postseason teams, kind of tight matchups you would expect. So I think that's also really weird that the games just end up being flat, being duds. Honestly, with everything going on in Tampa, I think with the goaltending situation for both teams, Carolina doing that balancing act still between Anderson and Kochetkov, whereas Tampa knows it's Vasilevsky. What the Tampa Bay community, I know I said it first, but I'm just going to circle back. What the Tampa Bay community is going through right now with Hurricane Milton, I think this is a little bit more important for the Lightning. I think they also, in a one-game situation, are more certain. If the Canes start Anderson, which I feel like they're going to do, the edge goes to Tampa in that power play, especially with Kucherov, Gensel. It's going to be new, but it's going to be exciting. I think they're still going to have a lethal power play. I like Tampa on the road here. Plus 114 is good odds. I'm not afraid of that puck line, like I just said, because of just how these teams have played each other lately. But I think just the circumstances really favor the Lightning in this one, and it's early in the season. We saw the Canes start slow last year. They have a ton of turnover if we're talking about new things in place.
Big time.
I like Tampa in this spot here, and John Cooper's a tremendous coach. So not that Rod Brindamore is, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. I mean, Cooper has the longevity, right? I think I'm with you on your end result there. Tampa Bay on the money line, plus 114. I think for me, man, I just don't really know what to expect from either of these teams. Like, no doubt that both of these teams have talent. No doubt that they're both still going to be competitive and they're still going to be good. But it would not surprise me. I mean, I guess it'd be a little bit surprising, but I can see a world where one of these teams doesn't make the playoffs. Like, I can see it, if I mean, you feel like the way the Met is, you feel like Carolina will get at least the 3rd spot. You feel like, but I can see a world where, I mean, Tampa Bay had the wild card spot last year, right? Like, I can see a world where these two teams are battling for a wild card spot and one of them doesn't get it. I think there's a lot of turnover, like you said, on both squads. Jake Gensel played like for 5 minutes in Carolina, and he's playing them in his first game, a little, sibling rivalry, if you will, family rivalry. But right off the bat, our puck line's alive and well, man. 4-3. Let's go. Live.
I was a big Sharks plus 1.5 guy. So
Well, that's true. My puck line then. Yeah. yeah. Yeah.
Over it though. It's good.
Oh, Ryan Sutter. Look at that, eh? Anyway, so I'll take Tampa Bay here simply because I don't really know what I'm getting from either of these teams. And when I'm in that situation, I take the goaltender that I like better. And it's Vasilevsky. You kind of, by default, he did not have a good year last year, but by default, you just kind of, chalk it up to he has surgery. He was out for the first couple months of the season. It took him a while to get going again. And you give him a pass, and we'll see if this is something that, lingers, if he has a bounce back year or not. And that's kind of how I, roll with it. I think both of these teams are going to take a step back this year. We'll see how big. But when I'm undecided like this, I just take the goaltender that I like, and that's Vasilevsky, and I'll take Tampa Bay plus 114. All right, moving on. The Chicago Blackhawks plus 198 in Winnipeg, minus 245, minus 1.5 for the Jets is plus 108, plus 1.5 for the Blackhawks, minus 130. Over is 5.5, minus 134, and the under is plus 110. Andre, what do you got? Chicago, Winnipeg.
Yeah, so we saw how both teams opened the season, right? Chicago got pasted in Utah. 5-2. They were down 3-0 early. I guess they cut it to 1 goal at one point, but they were down the entire time. Whereas Winnipeg faced the defending Western Conference champs on the road, won 6-0. So if you're just looking at that, huge edge to Winnipeg off the bat. They beat a better team by a lot, and the Blackhawks couldn't hang with a brand new franchise according to coverage.com. But I don't know if you remember talking about these games last year. I remember it because it drove me insane, especially the last time. Or I guess not the last time, because the last time I foolishly picked the Blackhawks to win and they lost in overtime. The last 3 meetings between these teams, all 1-goal games. The Blackhawks won one of them. 2 of them went to overtime. And the only other game, or I guess the first game between these teams last season, was a 3-1 Jets win. Each matchup was tight. I don't know why. I don't know why the Jets couldn't pull away from the Blackhawks of all teams last year.
Yeah.
But what I do know, and it always prevails, and I'm pretty sure it prevailed in every single one of these games last year, Blackhawks first goal. Give it to me.
Oh, yeah.
Free money. I got to do it.
Those odds up yet?
I got to do it. I'm looking for it right now. My DraftKings is working again. Yeah, they're plus 170 for the first goal.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at last year, it looks like they did it 3 times, including both the games in Winnipeg. So, win or lose, Blackhawks first goal. And on a more serious, I think I would go Blackhawks plus 1.5 here, just based on the oddity that was. Also, Jets probably aren't going to get up for this game like they did for the Oilers. I'd imagine it's a bit of a letdown there. They just kind of go through the motions. I like Bedard to score in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win, but we saw 4 tight matchups last year. I think the Blackhawks are better. I think the Jets are worse. I think the Blackhawks want to bounce back. I think the Jets are okay, we can beat anybody. We just beat the Oilers 6-0. They're going to kind of cruise. So I'm going to take the Chicago plus 1.5 here and the under.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm about to say has nothing to do with my final pick for this game. I'm just going to put it like this. I know it's one game. I do think that result that we saw the other night in Edmonton is concerning for the Oilers. The Oilers could still very well make it to the Cup final. Stuart Skinner, not a great start at home, not the best, right? However, for the Jets, isn't this a team every single year that is like split 50-50 of like either you think they're going to win the Stanley Cup or you think that they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league? Like nobody seems to be really down the middle with this team. It's like one or the other. Everybody is kind of writing this team off, including the sports books. We went over it during the preseason. Their opening game on the road in Edmonton, they destroy the Oilers 6-0, and that game was never even close. Like that game was Jets front to back. And I just find it very curious, man. Every year a bunch of people write the Jets off, including me. Not this year. I'm all about the Jets this year, but every year people do it and they just hang around. And talking about what you said about the Blackhawks, my memory is not as good as you. I don't remember exactly like the Blackhawks meetings, but I do remember that's the Jets, man. Puck lines last year for the Jets was risky. That was a risky move. That was gambling at its finest, betting the Jets on a puck line when they, -1.5 puck line, because they just loved to win one-score games. They absolutely loved it. So if you're picking the Blackhawks +1.5, I don't hate it. -130. I'm just interested to see, man. That performance against the Oilers the other night was so dominant. You're at home now, True North, and do you bring that same? Was it the fact that the Jets were so good, or were the Oilers just not showing up for that game? I would be interested to know who's in net for the Blackhawks tomorrow night. I wouldn't be surprised if Mrazek and Brossoit just go back and forth all season long. I'm sure by the time some people watch this on Friday, it'll be decided. I'll probably take Blackhawks +1.5 too, but keeping in theme with what you're saying, I kind of like the under more. I feel like Chicago won't be able to get more than 2 goals, and +1.5. If that stays true and the Jets win, then I'll take the under 5.5 at +110. Are you still with me? I think my camera's frozen. Am I frozen? You see me?
Yeah, you're frozen. You're frozen.
All right.
You're like Elsa.
It's not like the least flattering. I think I've probably looked worse frozen before on here. I'll figure that out. Before I figure that out, let's go through St. Louis, Vegas, Golden Knights. Vegas -182. Have you ever seen this, by the way, on the sports books? VEG. Have you ever seen that before?
I've seen VGK. I usually see VGK. I think I've seen VGS once.
Yeah, I don't like it. It looks weird, but that's okay. -182 on the money line. Blues. The St. Louis Blues, who looks like they're about to go on a 4-minute power play, 1 goal away from tying this up. +150, +1.5 for the Blues is -164, -1.5 for VEG, +136. The over is 5.5 at -130, and the under is +106. I'm gonna fix my camera. While I do, Andre, what do you like? VEG and STL.
Well, I'm really hoping you fix your camera quick, because this is probably going to be the briefest I talk about tonight. The Blues on the second half of a back-to-back coming in from San Jose. Win or lose, this is becoming, or has become, a very hard-fought, tough game for them. And they're facing a Golden Knights team that pasted the Avalanche in their season opener, a very good Avalanche team. Tout them I guess not held them, but they allowed only 4 goals. When you're playing Colorado, that's kind of a win. They scored 8 of their own, and I don't see a reason why they can't do that against the Blues. So I think this was going to be a blowout. I think Vegas -1.5 is the play here, and I'd be willing to take the over based on the fact that I think Vegas has another 4 or 5 in them alone. And then you just, the Blues get 1 or 2 that pushes it right there. It's at 6, so that's at least a push.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened. My camera's working now, but it's reversed. It like flipped. So the shadow was on this side or was on this side, and now it's on this. I don't even know what's happening right now, but that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like the logical pick here, just straightforward. What was your final pick? I'm sorry, I was fixing stuff. What was your final pick for this game?
I went Vegas -1.5 in the over. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I think that's the logical pick here. I think the way that this game is going, playing in San Jose tonight, the travel to Vegas isn't crazy, but you're playing tonight, and the Sharks are giving you all you can handle, right? Like they're playing you really tough, and you might lose this game. So to me, you're going to Vegas. I think -1.5 is a really good play at +136, and I like that over too. I can see the Blues getting a couple goals as well. I don't think they'll be held off the board, so I like that as well. All right, moving on to the last game of the evening, the Philadelphia Flyers. I was telling you this pre-show. How awful is this? The Philadelphia Flyers season opener is in Vancouver on a Friday night at 10 p.m. EST. The Flyers +136 on the money line. Vancouver -164. +1.5 for the Flyers is -182. -1.5 for the Canucks is +150. The over is 6.5 at +106, and the under is -130. That was an embarrassing game for the Canucks last night. What do you see changing on Friday night?
Is much gonna change? I mean, that's honestly my question. I've heard a lot of buzz about the Flyers this year. I think you're frozen again. No, you're not.
I'm here.
Locked in.
Oh, I'm just locked in on the Blue Sharks game, bro. I got you.
No, this has been a lot of buzz about the Flyers this year. Torres has a lot of history with Vancouver, or in Vancouver specifically. I don't know. I'm not high on this Flyers team. I think they might win this game. Maybe I'm overcorrecting from that the Flyers Canucks meltdown the other night.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is their opener. They're fresh, starting on the road where they were money last year. And if you're looking at a strength for the Canucks, you'd probably say it's the power play, right? JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, Brock Besser, Pedersen. You'd think it's the power play. And the Flyers PK, at least the one we saw last year, is the best offense they have on top of being, a 3 unit in the league. So yeah. The Flyers swept Vancouver last year. I don't think it was an accident. They held the Canucks, I believe, to 0 for 6 on the power play, if I can do math correctly. I like the Flyers here in a low-scoring game. I don't think the Canucks course correct, if you will. So give me that +136. DK has a +150 for the Flyers.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a nice price. So my favorite bet for this game, and you're not getting +150 or +136 as it is on FanDuel. But my favorite bet for this game is the over 6.5 at +106. And the reason for that is I think what we saw last night, Wednesday night, and I know it's one game and you don't want to overreact or whatever, but I do. I said this all preseason. I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. I like She Loves. I do. He's on my fantasy team, which means nothing to anyone else but me, but it's the truth. They need Demko, man. They need him. That's just the bottom line. I like She Loves. How long can he hold down the fort for you? I don't know. Is that game last night an outlier? Are we going to see more of that again? I don't know. But I just don't trust it either way. And even if the Canucks win 4-3, or lose 4-3, and the game's pretty good game and whatever, that's still cash in the over. To me, I think that the goaltending for Philly is sketchy, and I think the goaltending for Vancouver is sketchy, and it's really that simple. I like the over better than any other bet in this game. Could the Flyers win this game? 100%, absolutely. You said it, man. They had the Canucks number last year, and I can see that happening again. But to me, we don't know what we're getting from the Flyers yet. And also, like, for the Canucks, that game, that was a collapse, man. Like, the Canucks weren't just up 4-1. They were up 4-1 after the first period. Like, they were destroying the Flames. And they completely let that game get off the rails. They should have never lost that game. And quite frankly, it should have never even been close. Like, that game should have been a complete blowout, and they coughed it up. So you'd like to think that this team has some pride at some level, and they come back and win tomorrow night, right? But I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. So I like the over. I think there's going to be lots of goals either way that this goes. And I'll take the over. The other thing, if I'm the Canucks, and again, I come from Toronto, you come from New York, we're fans of Toronto, fans of New York. We love overreaction. We're not too proud to admit it. We love a little overreaction. We love a little drama. What was one of the biggest talking points for the Canucks last year, especially as the year went on and continued into the playoffs? Where is Pettersson? Where is this guy? And he did not look great yesterday. And so I'm interested to see if that keeps going, because he looked invisible last night. So we'll see what happens. All right, bro. Let's wrap it up. It is 1 a.m. here on a Thursday night. Let's wrap it up. What is your best bet for tomorrow night? Not a lot to choose from. Some pretty tough games tomorrow or Friday night, tonight, whatever suits your reality, I suppose. What's your best bet, bro?
I feel like it's a little too late to pick the Sharks live money line at minus 950, so I'm going to pivot off that. And I'm going to go with the under in Winnipeg. Blackhawks, Jets. It hit all 4 times last season pretty comfortably. Under 5.5 hit all 4 times last season pretty comfortably, actually. And if you extend it back to December 2022, there's a couple more meetings in there that also hit under 5.5 goals, let alone 6. So yeah, we know the Jets' prowess defensively. The Blackhawks have a good goaltending duo. The Jets aren't known for running up the score on most teams. Give me that under 6.
I love it. I'm going to go back to what I literally just talked about, and that's the over in Philadelphia, Vancouver. Over 6.5 at plus 106. I just laid out the case, so I won't get too much into it. I don't trust the Flyers goaltending. I don't trust the Canucks goaltending. That's really all there is to it. I like the Canucks offense, and I don't mind the Flyers offense. Really not too crazy than that. If you need a deeper explanation, rewind this podcast like 5 minutes and it's all laid out there. Over 6.5 plus 106. And as a family play to wrap up the 3-leg parlay, Vegas minus 1.5.
Oh yeah, I already had it penciled in there, so I knew where we were going.
I love it.
Yes, sir. So I have, at least the odds I have up right now are a little bit different than yours, and the lines, but they're obviously going to change by the time a lot of people see this or are ready to bet on this. So just follow along with logic. First up, 8 o'clock, the under in Blackhawks Jets. Right now, it's under 6 and minus 118. It might be under 5.5, under 6.5 tomorrow, whatever. Take the under. That is my best bet. Mark had Flyers at Canucks over 6.5. The 1.5 penciled in right now is over 6 and minus 115. You said over 6.5 at plus 100. One of those, either one works. And then last but not least, we have the Golden Knights puck line minus 1.5. The odds I have right now are plus 136. I'm not sure about you.
Yep.
The parlay I have right now is plus 715 though, with the under, the over, and then the puck line.
All right. Well, the last 2 nights that we've done this, I've been doing FanDuel, you've been doing DraftKings, and the DraftKings odds have been better tonight. Again, if you're watching this live and you like the parlay, FanDuel has this parlay at plus 920. So significantly different. So if you have both books, which like I'm a degenerate, so I have like 7 books that I use. If you're a normal person and just use one, then that's no big deal. But if you do have both, plus 920 is that parlay on FanDuel. As always, by the way, I forgot to remind you that our best bet segment is brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire store. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off whatever card in the entire store. Awesome. Andre, appreciate you, bro. Little late night. Had to suffer through some playoff baseball. What's that?
It's actually early morning. We're just ahead of everybody.
We're just working, man. Everyone else is sleeping, and we'll probably sleep in. What can you do? Appreciate you. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.
Go Sharks.
Woo!